Hello, creative, and welcome back to the Empowered Creatives podcast, finding confidence between hustle and burnout. I'm Victoria Hines, creative career coach, helping creatives just like you strategize their way forward in their careers. I'm recording this live from downtown Chicago. I'm pretty sure my my sound editor is going to murder me after making this impulsive decision, but it just feels right. So when you listen to this podcast episode that goes live, I will have hit the road for my 6-month nomadic adventure. But as I'm recording this, it's 2 days before I hit the road. So I'm stressed, y'all. I'm doing fine. Most everything's packed. I have a plan. I'm getting it all done, down to bringing my car in last second to the shop to make sure it was ready to go for the trip. But it's definitely feeling like a mad dash towards, flipping the page to the next chapter. And I was talking to my therapist today about how it hasn't really sunk in. And that happens to me a lot. Usually I'm planning too much, I'm doing too much, I'm implementing too much to really let big change sink in. And I know eventually it will, but I impromptu decided to run downtown to Chicago this evening. I needed to get Garrett's popcorn for my lovely soon-to-be family-in-law who's going to put me up for the night on my adventure. And I also just had this inkling of I really wanted to go revisit the Christkindl Market, which is one of my favorite things to do in Chicago this time of year. You might have seen my Instagram post I posted about the Morton Arboretum, but there's so many things in Chicago, like despite the colds, despite it being windy, which actually tonight is a very nice night, so I'm enjoying every moment of it. But Christmas time in Chicago is quite magical. And as I'm sitting here in Pritzker Pavilion in downtown Chicago with this beautiful light display hitting the aluminum reflective surface of this stadium outdoor place, I was struck by this inkling to share this with you. I think a lot of us can struggle with marking the occasion. I feel like societies used to be so good at celebrations or at ceremony or at really marking a momentous occasion. And in the hustle and bustle of modern day society, I think that's really difficult to do. We feel this pressure to move on to the next thing, to make the next piece of work, to prove that we are valuable. And there is this beauty in slowing down for just a moment and asking yourself, how can I mark this moment in time? How can I celebrate this moment in time, revere this moment in time, or take a moment to just create a little ceremony around a really big change? So, yeah, this is what I want to share with y'all tonight. The more I thought about it, the more I've been wandering around the town, the more I've realized I really needed this night. I needed a moment by myself. I don't have anywhere to be. I don't have anyone to show up for. I just get to wander and explore and do the things I want to do. So I went to Christkindl Market. I got my glue vine and my souvenir mug. Ran by, started walking by the Christmas tree, and now I'm here in this pavilion recording this podcast episode. And you've probably heard me on this podcast. I can't remember which episode I talked about it, but Martha Beck has this really beautiful thing called the change cycle. And We are all thrust through the different processes of the change cycle at different moments in our life. And the thing that thrusts us into them is sometimes something that's forced. It's outside of our control. So something like the pandemic. Sometimes it's an opportunity presents itself. So that's the moment I'm in of saying yes to a new opportunity, a new adventure. So it could be a good or positive thing. It doesn't matter, but it thrusts us into a dream space where we have to dream again. We have to mourn a little old piece of ourselves. We have to reimagine what's new. We go back into the hero's journey, which is the tough grind in the real world, trying to figure out this new life, this new change that we're implementing. And then we get into the promised land where things feel good. And then suddenly we get thrust back into the change cycle again. And there is a death and rebirth that we experience. And wouldn't it be nice if we marked that beginning of that cycle with a ceremony of sorts, with a recognition that a chapter is turning, a page is turning, a new book is being written. It's just such a beautiful moment to not only recognize where you've been, how far you've come, but also a chance to say goodbye, to mourn, to feel the grief, to feel the sadness, and also to feel the joy and the possibility and the openness of what's to come. All of these emotions are impossible to feel when you are constantly rushing towards the next thing. This is going to be a short episode, but as we are nearing this holiday season, here's going to be your one thing this week. Where is there change happening in your life? It could be a project's ending and a project starting. It could be a new job, a new career. It could be saying goodbye to an old job career. It could be a relationship. But where is change occurring in your life? And what's one way you could create a ceremony around that change and just give yourself time to mark it? Give yourself time and space and the love that you show other people, that you show your work, that you show your art. Give that same love back to yourself and give yourself the loving space to just recognize this moment for what it is. Whether good or bad, change is what takes us to that next level. We always have to go through change to get to the next step, to grow, to improve, to level up. So that's my December wish for you, is to find that space to create a ceremony around change. If you're struggling with what that may be, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to brainstorm with you. With that being said, if you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. It truly is the number one way you could show love towards this podcast. And with that, I will be back next week with an incredible guest episode. And until then, stay creative, my friend.